Sorry about that. Forgot to record the first part, so we're starting over again. All right, so here we go. Today we're talking about fractional exponents. Here's the formula for it, and we're going to show you how that works. Basically, let's do problem number 1. If you don't see anything in the index spot, it's a 2. And also, we don't see anything in the exponential spot, so that's a 1. Ultimately, the square root of 7 is equal to 7 to the 1/2 power. Let's try to do number 2. Anybody, any ideas for what number 2 should be? Julius. Yeah, 3 to the quarter power. So the quarter power and beyond. Okay, what about number 3? What about number 3? That one's confusing. McCarm. Do you add the exponents? This thing? No. In question number 3, the 3 is in the index spot. That's why I have this I here and this exponent here. Okay, so you have to fit it up to that formula up on top. So let's do this. Any ideas? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be 125 raised to the 2/3 power. And I want you to plug that into your calculator. Okay. Everybody now has a calculator. Now we got to learn how to plug this into the calculator. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. Because if you punch it in wrong, like this, you get some crazy number. Can somebody tell me why that's punched in wrong? Julius? Yeah, you're basically saying 125 squared divided by 3 is that. Nope, that's not what we want. Parentheses in math are like little baskets. They group stuff. We want the 2/3 in a basket. And the answer is 25. Leslie? You have an advanced version of this calculator, don't you? You have like the newest operating system. It does that. So you're good. Let's do number 4. Let's do number 4. Did everybody get a chance to take number 4 down yet or no? Okay, let me give you a minute or two to take it down, and then we'll talk about it. I almost did. Okay, anyway, so I forgot to record this one. I forgot to record question number 4 because we got into a big, long discussion. In any event, you convert this thing underneath the square root into the same item raised to the 1/2 power. The 1/2 gets distributed inside to each of these exponents, just as we did. And then you just convert it to, you just make sure they all have positive powers. 9 to the 1/2 power is 3. That's like taking the square root of 9. A to the negative 1 is the same as putting positive a to the 1 in the denominator. And b cubed stays on top, so this is the final answer. All right, last part of our lesson. Now we have to go the opposite way. Now I give you exponential powers, and you have to convert this to radicals. Time to go. Time to go. Sorry, we got distracted again. We got to make sure we finish. 3 to the 1/2 power is what? 9. Nah. No. Is the square root of 3. This is the index. It's the square root of 3 raised to the 1/2 power, raised to the first power. That's the same thing as saying the square root of 3. It is not 9. 3 squared is 9. 3 to the 1/2 power. I'll show you. So let's do the second one, right? Let's do this just like our formula indicated. The bottom number is the index. The top number is the power. So we want to find the square root of 9 cubed. We can do that. What is the square root of 9 cubed? Very nice, Alicia. Very nice. 27. Let's play again. Are we going too fast for anybody? We'll slow down. We'll slow down. Time to go. So in the next example, it's the same thing that we did in example number 6, except it's to the negative power. So what do we do first? No. Chill. We're gonna convert it to a positive power because it's easy to deal with positive powers. From here on out, it works just like that other problem that we did. 9 to the 3/2 power, that's the same thing as saying what? What? Yeah, it's the square root of 9 cubed. which ultimately we found out was 27, and so it's 1 over 27. So it's exactly as I told you yesterday, right? Anything to the negative power is just the original flipped. Technically, it's actually, if you wanted to say it in terms of math terms, it's the reciprocal of its positive counterpart. You could also have typed it into your calculator and gotten the same thing. Now we got 2 more problems to go, and then we're out of this joint. Uh-oh. Well, it's a good thing I taught you imaginary numbers, right? Because this is the cubed root of negative 8 squared. Now, in the past, we haven't really had to deal with cubed roots or fourth roots. Is this going to be an imaginary number? No, it's not. If it were at this point, you would know how to do it, but it's not. The cubed root, what multiplied by itself 3 times is negative 8? Of course, and what's negative 2 squared? Good. That's it. That's all you got to do. That was easy, right, Justin? 1 more to go. 1 more. You can do it. 1 more. X to the 13th raised to the 1/7 power. That's nuts. Out of control, right? Take this. We're going to apply the power rule. Lizzie, what's 13 times 1/7? Without a calculator. 13 times 1/7 without a calculator. Not in decimal form, in fraction form. Yeah, it's 13 divided by 7. 13 is the same thing as 13 over 1, and then you do top times top, bottom times bottom. That's the same thing as saying x to the 13/7, which therefore is the same thing also as saying the 7th root of x raised to the 13th. And we're going to talk more about question number 9 on Monday because it's actually pretty interesting what just took place. I don't know if you realize it or not. In any event, calendar quiz due on Monday. No other homework otherwise. Have a good weekend.